Welcome back to the Flogsville podcast. It is a post-buys edition. We've made it through the buys, but my voice hasn't. So apologies for that. Feeling a bit under the weather this week, but we're all good. Joining me at the moment, it's just the two of us. It's coach of the Guns N' Roses, Ben. How are you, mate?
Thank you, mate. Yes, just a little one-on-one number tonight. So look forward to a little bit of analysis, but it looks as if your voice is not the only thing that's left the podcast. It will appear as if a few members on the panel have not made it, but we'll touch on that as we go, I'm sure. But no, exciting time of year now, sort of home stretch, and lots to play for as usual.
Absolutely, the home stretch. And just a quick recap, mate. Over the buys, you're able to hold your rank and improve it, which was outstanding.
Yes, mate. Yeah, hanging in there still. So we started at 168, but down into 82 at the moment. So hopefully, yeah, hang around there through this week with a bit of carnage, which we will touch on. But yeah, hanging strong so far. So 9 rounds to go. Can't come quick enough.
Nah, fair enough. All right, the way this is going to work is we're pretty much just going to go through each matchup. Ben's he's done the research. He's got some champion data stats for us about each of the relevant sides who are still in the picture for finals. So we'll talk about them and give a bit of prediction. So away we go. And we're starting with the Crouching Lions up against the B Sharps this week. Both teams are still mathematically in the mix. Ben, what have you got for us? Let's start with Brett and the Crouching Lions.
Yeah, Brett very much in the mix, sitting fourth. Obviously, in regards to him, seems to have had a really good buy period. He's got lots of cash in the bank with 615k.
Holy smokes.
So he's got a bit to splash, but we'll touch on a few of these tonight. But Timmy English, obviously, a big problem for a lot of coaches, and he's one of them. And also his forward line, his F5 and F6 looking a bit thin. So I'm sure he's aware of that. But yeah, to have that cash in the bank is obviously pretty handy. And he can sort of do what he wants with it. Yeah, on Dale's side, I found something which I don't think I've seen before, but his remaining salary is at $1.12 million. So
wow,
he could literally do whatever he wants with that. At the moment, he doesn't have ruck with Scotty, as a few don't, but he's literally ruck as we speak. So a lot of that cash will be going towards fixing that, as well as Dane Zorko, who's obviously already ruled out tonight. So, yeah, a bit of work to do for Dale. So in this matchup, I have to favour Brett pretty considerably, but yeah, you never know, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at both sides, as you said, Brett looks like in a really good position. I think we were sort of worried a little bit before the buys, but he put on some good form and he's managed to get himself into the top 4. And as he usually does, Brett, he looks prime for a juicy run home into finals. Let's have a look at our next matchup. It is Sean Newell, the Glen Mountain Fan Club, up against, my God, your Liberatore. And we have to talk about it, Ben. You have to share with the viewers what happened last week. Hugh Stone, in his buys, has had a bit of a mare.
Yeah, unfortunately, not the greatest buy period for the Liberatores. A little bit of chaos, obviously, with the likes of Zorko and Gorn and those types going down last week. And Chera, obviously another name for you and Hugh. Scotty. Say that a few times. But no, a little bit of a mix-up for him. He put some trades through, got the game time wrong, and obviously had to stick with 2 of the trades with Carlton players. So, yeah, probably not his finest work. But in saying that, he's still sitting quite nicely. Obviously second, so having a really good year. Huey, and but yeah, a lot of problems, unfortunately for him, with DeGoey, Bruce, Sorko, Butters, and English to deal with this week. So I think, yeah, a few obviously rookies coming on there, and probably not the best score, but be interesting to see how he deals with that. But yeah, for Sean, similar sort of thing. Got the 5 players out as well. Interesting to note they both have around 400k to spend.
Wow.
It seems to be a bit of a theme so far, and it is a bit of a theme amongst the other teams as well. So yeah, you'd probably have to favour Huey, but yeah, some big names there. So you should just see who deals with the chaos the best.
Yeah, both having to deal with the Zorko. It should be interesting to see, with Chris Fagan coming out saying that he was really close and he should be right for next week, whether it's worth it with all the other carnage there. McRae is a pod, I think, for Hugh. He showed last week that he's back to his best. But it should be a tight matchup. It's, that last game, the Port Gold Coast game for Sean is going to be key there with Took Miller, Noah Anderson, Ollie Wines floating about. So should be a fascinating matchup, I reckon.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on. We love this. This is a traditional rivalry. These boys are best mates. It's the Burp and Burt Burtons up against last year's premiers, of course, Smiths Cripps, and they're going up against each other this week. We love that. Housemates as well. That's a good theme. That's a bit of a theme this week. So how did these two boys shape up post buys, Ben?
Yeah, it's the first of many rivalries I've noticed this week. So the Smiths Cripps have done really well over the bye period. They're currently not in the 8, but they will be my pick of the second half of the season. They've done really well. At this stage, they've only got Tim English to deal with this week, which when you consider all the other names that are floating around, that's a massive advantage for Liam. So, obviously making the right trades and things like that. Brad as well, he's done really well through that period. They're both sitting about that 20 mil team value, which is up there in amongst the best of the comp. So they've both done their research, as I like to say, and they've come home strong. So Brad's still got Dawn to deal with though. So obviously that's a big one. And I think just based on who's out so far, he'd probably have to favour Mulesy. But wouldn't surprise me if it went the other way as well. It's teams who are outside the 8 who I think might make the eventual 8. So pressure on those top 8 teams.
That's outstanding, mate. I think I'll have to lean towards Liam as well, just with Butters and Gawn to deal with for Brad is unfortunate, especially when Butters, he was going so well on the weekend. His boy too was a cruel blow really for him to go down. So we shall move on to our next matchup, and it should be an interesting one, I think, because the midfielders showed a bit of form sort of in that middle period before the buys. And then McRae, you've done it again with Sam's side really starting off really well and then sort of dropped a little bit and maybe are, third on the ladder yet. That's maybe a bit higher than what they should be. But let's dive into this one, mate. What have you got for us?
Yeah, I think spot on, mate. Sam obviously started really well this year. Looks like he's had a good 3-week period. He's got lots of cash. He's got about $500K to spend this week. But like others, English, the Gary, Butters, and a bit of a weak F5-6 area. So certainly not smooth sailing for him. I think he'll get the chocolates, but it's really important, I think, for him because, as you mentioned, Scotty, his points for is a little bit less than the other team. So if he was to drop a few games, he'd probably drop quite considerably considering how tight the remaining, obviously the top 8 and a few outside there. So I think for him, he has to keep winning, otherwise he might drop quite quickly.
Excellent. And mids doesn't look too bad. Obviously, a few concerns there. McInerney's really dropped off in the last few weeks, and Petrarca as well. He would like a lift out of, but there's some nice names in there. Riley O'Brien has been okay and still rolling with a Lipinski in the forward line. So, some interesting rookies as well there for mids and Cole Hardigan. Bit of a different.
I think there'll be a bit of a theme with, I guess, the top 4, top 8 compared to the others. Here's sort of rookies, obviously not off field yet, and the ones who are being fielded are a little bit less quality. So you'd think there'd be a bit more difference moving into the second half of the year as compared to the first half with those better teams with the better value. So.
Absolutely. All right. Next matchup is it's close to home. It is the Sisterhoods up against my guys. So it's our first sort of assistant coach matchup that we've had in this rivalry round. So a frustrating bye period, certainly for my side, that we sort of started well and were able to get in some good players, but just the last 2 rounds of the bye, being hit with the injury curse, and done a lot of good work to have no rookies on field and some premiums I'm really happy with, and that's sort of that won't be the case this week. But the sisterhoods, mate, what have you got on them?
Yeah, both teams very, very similar here. Very, very similar team values with not much in the bank for both. So interesting to note. Similar issues again this week with Big Beanpole and Big Brucey for both teams. But obviously for your side, Scotty, there, Hunters and Zorko to deal with. Yeah, it's going to be really even. Obviously, 6 and 7 at the moment. This would be an elimination if it was the end of the year. So, I like that sort of theatrics around this matchup. And obviously, the question's got to be asked, being so tight, obviously. Collusion, where's that sitting for this week, please? What's the update there?
Been very minimal. Obviously having similar issues. That's probably been the only chat. But we both see the importance of this game, I think, and a win off the buys, and especially for my boys, maybe slight underdogs. I don't know, just with 5 players being out and 4 of them being premium. So we'll see how we go. But no, we're looking forward to it. I think. Yeah, that's the general feel.
Look forward to seeing how it plays out. I'm assuming you would give a little bit more than the coach of phenomenal from all reports through Flogsville media. Apparently, he's not too happy with how successful their franchise have been so far. Is that right?
Well, just the lack of advice, I think, is he was a bit not giving a lot early, and then it's just sort of declined for the sisterhoods recently. So now that they're in the thick of it, that's just testament to how well the sisterhoods have gone, and what a story that would be if they could make the finals. So big game for them. They've got Heels after me, so an opportunity if they get the scout this week to go 2 wins after the bye and really consolidate that top 8 position. All right, your boys, Ben, you're up against the Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs with a tough bye period, mate. What's the intel there?
Of intel, obviously playing Rabs this week, and even before the round had concluded last week, he was sending messages of donuts and potential like that on the radar. And I thought he was joking, but actually having a look at his team, unfortunately, he's been absolutely riddled. He's got 6 players out this week and doesn't have any forward mid cover from what I can tell. So I think he's tried to get the most cash out of the guys he downgraded, but unfortunately those guys haven't been playing, which might hurt him this week. I think he'll have at least 2, if not 3, Krispy Kremes. So we'll have to wait and see where that lands. Obviously, still got Bailey Smith and Gawn, which I'm not exactly sure how that's happened, but obviously lots of cash for them. And I don't know. There's a lot of damage there. I think it really might hurt him going into this second half of the year. His points for, unfortunately, don't stack up with the teams below him. So a couple of years, then he might get another one on the slide. So we'll have to wait and see. He's not here to comment tonight, so I'm sure we'll get the intel across the weekend and maybe even next week. So
very. And yourself, mate. Obviously, with Timmy English and Zach Butters to deal with. But midfield's looking stacked, mate. Jack McRae, a nice addition.
Yeah. The plan was, like you, Scotty, to have no rookies this week, but unfortunately that's going to happen with one of them. Got a little bit aggressive, traded Bruce out and then traded him back in last week, and probably have to trade him out this week. Trying to keep hats in 2 races, so to say. Just trying to get the most points on field. So we'll keep trying our best in that space.
Very good, mate. So, all right, let's move on to a couple of, you wouldn't have had any info on these guys. It's King Kunta up against Total Eclipse of the Heart. Let's just have a look at their matchup. What do you see happening this week? Surely King Kunta with a win, you'd think.
You would think. I'll be honest. I haven't done much heavy data and have just seen that they're both, bottom and bottom of the ladder. So,
Alex Witherden, Max Gorn, DeGoey.
There's a fair bit happening, and unfortunately, it's not on the positive end for either of these franchises. So, 2 wins between them. The positive is that one will win this week. One of these, I've got no idea. I'd probably have to favour Pete, but that's just off absolute guess. So.
Yeah. We'll wait and see what happens here. 17th versus 18th. Anything could happen. All right. Hoffleberry FC, Surge, of course, there. Up against the Keys this week, and the Keys really sort of turned it around and were one of the informed sides going into the buys. How have you seen both these teams' buy period?
Yeah, you're spot on, Scotty. Jake obviously winning 3 of his last 5 leading into the buy, and some of those were against some really good teams. So sitting 10th at the moment, he's had a reasonable period. He's got a lot of cash to spend, about 500K. But obviously, in saying that, he's got 4 injuries.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Darcy Cameron, so that ruck is going to be a real struggle for him this week. With having Beanpole and Bruce as well. So, yeah, he's obviously going to have to fix those guys up. In saying that, he'll win this week pretty comfortably, you would assume. And, that's going to put pressure on that 8th spot. So, he'll sit quite nicely, and I think he'll keep rolling quite well. So.
No, very good, mate. Let's talk about our last matchup. We've got Team Golden Child, who also was showing a real uptick in form, and then phenomenal. What has Zach done over the buys? I'll be interested to have a look.
Well, Matt Redmond is still occupying a space in his defensive line, so I know you'll be pleased with that one, Scotty.
I know. Did you see his performance last week? Fucking hell.
No, in all seriousness, it is looking quite good. Massive concerns, again, in the ruck department. We've still got good English, and I don't think Tinkle as a ruck emergency there. So, again, two trades in the ruck this week. But apart from that, he's looking pretty good, to be honest, Zach. Yep. You mentioned before the bye, he got some wins and got the confidence up. So you would think that's phenomenal. The favourite in this game, but as we've seen this year, Zach can turn it on when he wants to and put some attention to detail, especially with some really nice loophole options. Just taking that into account. So, but yeah, on Tom's side, he's looking pretty strong, as he usually does this time of year. Not much cash in the bank with a few problems, so he'll have to get quite inventive this week. But yeah, I think the bookies would go there, but I wouldn't completely throw out the upset here, Scotty.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be down to what both these sides can do, I suppose, with Tom with his issues there, and not much cover really on his bench. There's a few that might play, but I think Dunkley looms large on Zach's side. They both have Rory Laird, which I think is some good stuff, and then. Who else we got really? Cogs has sort of had a nice uptick in form. Isaac Heaney as an owner, that's always nervous. So, it should be a real tight matchup, that one.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we were graced with the presence of Phenomenal during the bye period. He managed to get away and have some time off. And, speaking with him, he's always quite confident, I think. It's fair to say. A little bit of head wobble at times, so it'll be interesting to see how the second half of the year goes for him. But he knows what it takes. The second half of the year, he's made grand finals and he's been successful. So I'm sure he'll be around the mark. But yeah, like every team, it's how you deal with the chaos. So
yeah, that's it. Oh well, that's pretty much what we've done with only the two of us. We've smashed through this week's matchups. So good luck. Hopefully, there's no more carnage. And any more injuries really, because it's been hectic the last 2 weeks in particular. We've got a little treat for you potentially in the thumbnail, so look out for that. Might be of the ruck theme variety. That's something we'll work towards. But anyway, good luck all. We'll chat to you next week. See ya.